The people that didn't choose this were my wife and my kids. So I'm married. I've got 4 kids. They didn't choose it. They've tolerated it. And so every time I get thanked for my service, it happens all the time. Everywhere you go, thank you for your service. I go into a restaurant. If I'm in uniform, there's a good chance my meal gets paid for. People in Idaho love our military, and I love it. I will tell you that the thanks in my mind is better suited for the families of the service members. My wife has endured multiple deployments, both long and short. I've been deployed overseas for over a year twice. 2 of my 4 children have also done that. And then my 2 youngest, I got back from a deployment in 2023. So my younger kids have endured those, they're missing dads for birthdays and recitals and you name it, all of the things that are important in life, right? That,
bacon, man.
Absolutely. And so whenever, people will say, thank you for your service, all of those things, I like to, it's not so much, it's not about me. I chose this. My family maybe didn't. But I will tell you that it's made my kids tough. My wife, she's fantastic. She supports us. My kids, this is, the thanks is to them in my mind. And I think most guardsmen would agree. I get called up and they're like, hey, do you want to go do a thing in DC for 10 days? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And it's, again, falls back on the families back at home. They're the ones that go without. Yeah.
Are there organizations that support military families when the serviceman or woman is deployed?
There is, yeah. The Idaho Guard has there's family programs out there. It's funny you should ask, and I hesitate to even bring this up, but yeah, there are. There's tons of family programs out there. My oldest daughter she's actually competing in the Miss Teen Idaho pageant. Well, she's now competing in the Miss Teen Volunteer pageant across the country, representing Idaho. And her platform is called Growing Up Army Strong, and talking about and bringing awareness to kids that grew up with parents that might be deployed or activated and the challenges and struggles that come along with that. And that's a real thing. Kids, it's a challenge, especially for little ones. I actually feel like the last deployment that I just endured in 2023 I went through, my younger kids did better than my older kids. And they'd already done one, in 2010 to a deployment to Iraq. They'd experienced, but I felt like the younger kids do a little bit better. I don't know, just my insight.
Just your opinion.
Yeah, just my opinion.
I would love to connect with somebody who runs some of the programs through the National Guard
Absolutely.
for families.
Yeah.
Because again, when I have the very good fortune of talking to a wide variety of people addressing like I put out a clip this morning or last night about a gal who lives in Caldwell and very unfortunately was just on a walk with her friend and found this gal like sitting freaking out in the middle of this walking path, and they get her up, like figure out like, hey, something's weird, right?
Yeah.
They take her back to the parking lot, and some guy jumps out of the bushes, like tries to take her away. Turns out it's this human trafficking thing, and it's horrific. And she's like, this older gal, she's like, listen, I'm not trying to get involved with human trafficking. I'm not trying to like dig up all this horrible, upsetting stuff, but this landed in front of me on a walking trail. And then she started getting educated, like, oh my gosh, this is everywhere, and I put that out and people are like, hey, how can we help? Like, right. I think there is a thirst for assistance and participation, community and just assistance that is inherent in Idaho communities. And I want to make sure people ask, like, what are the organizations? How can we help? So again, I would love to be able to showcase some of those things so people in the community can understand, like, look, you want to help our Guard, right? You want to help these things. This is what we can do.
Yes, there are absolutely family programs right on Gowan Field and throughout all of the units in Idaho have family program leads that they can absolutely volunteer time. Whatever you can volunteer, they will take the help for sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.